Hi everyone, poor network connection. Oh, connection available. Hi everyone on Instagram, everyone on Facebook, just telling us that we have a bad connection, so hopefully it doesn't drop out. Welcome to our weekly Facebook and Instagram. I keep calling it Facebook Q&A, but actually we don't really put it out as much on Facebook as we do Instagram. So
Social media Q&A.
Social media Q&A.
Happy Friday.
Yeah, happy Friday. Your place where you can ask us any questions about real estate, where we're going to give you a quick update, and we're going to kind of talk through what is going on in the real estate world of Los Angeles. I'm Ed Hutchinson, if you haven't tuned into our stuff before.
David Johnstone.
David Johnstone, and obviously we are the real estate partnership if you're on one of our accounts, Hutchinson Johnstone. So welcome guys, hope everyone had a fantastic week. It is Friday and we are in Beverly Hills.
Beautiful.
Beautiful, beautiful day. We actually had some rain for LA Mansion Tours this week.
Yeah.
On Tuesday.
Well, the weather in May and June, it's always hit or miss. We get this, we call it May gray and June gloom, and you never know. It's the atmosphere, the pressure of the water, especially on the far west coast. We get these gray, gloomy days, a lot of fog, but not today.
Yeah, so actually the reason that happens is because the water from the winter is so much colder. You've got the heat of the sun obviously picking up much more and more and more, and it's heating up, and the difference in temperature obviously causes a lot of fog. So we get that a lot on the west side, less so in Beverly Hills though normally, I would say.
Yeah, a little bit less.
It's kind of that 10 degrees hotter inland area. But weirdly, if you guys managed to tune in for LA Mansion Tours, or even we were doing Venice Beach Realty, was it raining there when you were doing that?
This week it was. It
was
pretty wet.
So I was having a look, and we actually had a ridiculous situation, if you guys look back on it, where, hey everyone, by the way, if you want to write questions, put it there. Good to see you, Kiana. Basically had a really ridiculous situation where it never rains really in LA, or hardly ever rains. We ended up driving around 3 properties. Before we got to the last one, we were being driven by Chris Ricks, who obviously does quite a lot of our chauffeuring on LA Mansion Tours at the moment. The car started malfunctioning massively. So we had this weird situation where we were driving along and suddenly the indicator light keeps pinging, being like the left indicator's not working. We then got a low fuel warning instantly. The car started honking its own horn. The windows started, the back door started opening itself. And it was in a rental car that this guy had while his Jag was getting repaired. Poor guy, it was like almost the rain had come in and just done a full system malfunction shutdown. So we were sitting in the middle of an intersection with the horn going off. It was quite hilarious.
I wasn't too bummed that I missed that. This week,
to be honest, it wasn't great. But we managed to see 3 awesome properties. Hopefully you guys got to see that. Let us know if you have any questions on that. Kiana, exactly. It was raining in Bel Air, and actually we were driving between the properties. It's also the other thing I find with that is it's a lot harder to show properties in their best light when it is that weather.
Oh, of course. And a lot of the wow factor of most of these properties is the views, and
especially Bel Air, Beverly Hills.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what you're paying for. And so on a day where it's gloomy and you can't even go outside to see the yard or the property, and the views are just kind of grayed out,
it doesn't show.
It's hard to justify the $30 million spend.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, I think we had a look at a 9 million, a 14 million, and a 17 million, all of which had some sort of a view. And it was kind of cool to see it from my perspective. But obviously, if you're a buyer walking in there trying to see what the property is going to offer you, it's not really life in that location, I would say.
And if anyone wants to join the Venice tours one of these weeks,
yeah, absolutely.
I'm planning on doing one of the weeks. Viewing all the properties by bicycle, because we can do that. We have that luxury in Venice.
Yeah, that's cool.
So I'm going to take some beach cruisers and hit 3 or 4 of the new properties one week. So if anyone wants to join on that, it should be fun.
We should do also one on bird bikes, bird scooters.
The birds, yeah.
Yeah, so there's a new electric scooter company that's in Venice and the west side. It's pretty crazy because you have an app, you log in, and you can just drive it and it charges you per mile. It's kind of blowing up. Hey in South Korea, hi in Sri Lanka. Thank you guys for tuning in. Let us know if you have any questions about LA while we go through this. So it's been a really good week for us this week.
Yeah, busy week.
Busy week. We removed contingencies on the property that we have in North Hollywood.
Yep.
On Bonner, which actually we're going to discuss a bit later because there is a huge project literally going on next door to where that is. We got a property in Escrow at the end of last week.
Yep.
End of last week. It's actually quite a cool what the developer's doing there. Do you want to kind of give these guys a bit of background in terms of that?
Sure. It's actually, there's an organization in Venice that we've started to support a few months ago, where a little portion of our commission we're donating to this organization. It's called Safe Place for Youth.
Yep.
They work with homeless youth and at-risk teens and young adults in the Venice area that a lot of them are living on the streets, and they provide certain facilities.
Free lunch, I think, on every month, Tuesday to Friday.
Yeah, job training, help with resumes and things like that. And sort of the next phase of that is trying to find housing for these youth.
Which is that huge issue, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, because a lot of landlords they don't want to take on the risk. They don't want to, they look at these people as troubled, as, risky.
And so, I think we've tried to jump in and help in that regard as much as possible. We have an amazing investor who is doing a lot of investment through us at the moment, and actually they do a huge amount of charity work in South Africa. So it was amazing to be able to kind of take them, introduce them to the charity, and actually we found a property that we think could work really well for them, showed it to the investor. He loved it and actually was straight away just said, let's see if this can work. Dave, you did show him the charity.
The city of Los Angeles, as well as St. Jude's Hospital, has rent subsidies for most of these youth. So really the only risk is the actual tenants and issues that may arise there. The money is actually sort of secured, the rent money.
Yeah.
So it's finding the right landlord that's willing to take on these tenants.
So that's where we've tried to find, I think, the middle ground, where we've got an investor who's obviously investing in property. The money that they get is actually, considering how ridiculous the price of rent is in LA.
Yeah, it's close to market
value. So we found a property in Inglewood. That's now in contract. We're going through some of the inspections. David did inspections earlier this week.
Yeah, it's tough. It's a 5-unit building. There's been some low-income families in there for decades almost. Yeah. So the building needs a lot of work. There's a lot of things that are wrong, the plumbing, the electrical, but that's part of the game. And so we're looking at uncovering everything that needs to be done and looking at the costs before we
fully commit.
Before our buyer fully commits to the project.
And I think that is definitely, in our industry, we're obviously always dealing with sort of what is the sales figure, if we're dealing with investors, what's my return, and actually this is a really nice project where there's more good to it than just finding a good home for someone. I really like the idea of providing a middle ground step for people to get off the streets, get into a proper sort of job, and then potentially sort of find...
Exactly. It's a feel-good project, and because there are sort of guaranteed rents, it's not a total loss for our developer.
Yeah. It's just
they're not going to get the cap rates that you could on your typical projects, but as long as their baseline is secured, they're really excited to take on this project.
Yeah. And thank you, Kiana. Yeah, thank you. And let us know if you guys have any other questions related to that. I think there's tons and tons that can be done in regards to helping out. Because I think the weird thing, me coming from the UK and Dave being East Coast to West Coast, like here in California, you kind of think of this amazing sort of state government where they look after everyone and there's higher taxes and we're kind of creating that environment. The thing that I'm finding right now is that it's this, when you turn 18, if you're in the foster care system, obviously the foster parent is not going to get anything in terms of monthly rent or some money to basically put that out there to look after these people. So I can't blame them. They've looked after someone in that situation for a while. Why would you continue to pay for someone off your own dime when you need other people to help and you can't be paid to do that?
And obviously there's a homeless problem in every city, but Los Angeles seems to have quite a large homeless problem, and especially on the west side on Venice Beach. I mean, it's a great place for the homeless to sort of congregate, and so a lot of them try and sell things on the boardwalk, things like that.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of these youth that are 17, 18, up to 25 that are just out of their foster care and don't have anywhere to turn, and so they're literally living on the streets together.
Yeah, and
so
there's
this organization's great to show support for them,
and they're finding that middle ground between the sort of the current society that lives there, who obviously doesn't want a huge amount of homeless people living on the streets because it causes issues and like the streets get dirtier. It's harder to do those kinds of things, but obviously there needs to be somewhere these people can go. And if I was homeless, I would go to California and live on the beach because it's hot all the time.
Yeah.
There's a lot of wealthy people around to donate, etc., etc. Anyway, so hopefully you guys found that interesting. I think you've got another inspection there Monday.
Yeah, quite a few.
Okay, so in other things that we've been up to today, sorry we got on a bit of a tangent on that one. It's that feel-good vibe that we're just vibing off. Hi in the UK as well. Thank you for tuning in. Let us know if you guys have any questions, as I've just said earlier. Other things we've been doing, so we've got a lease on the market at the moment. You had a showing there just before Coachella weekend.
Yep.
Did a second showing there yesterday.
Yep.
How did that go?
Went really well.
Really well?
I think we'll have a deal. There's
Yeah.
some things the tenants want, some new flooring, working with our client, but I think we can get it done.
Yeah, so that's looking good. It's expensive lease near to Abbot Kinney in Venice. Obviously, trying to find the right tenant for the right kind of property that has a lot of character is definitely probably our daily struggle. I think is like finding the right person for that. So also we're joined by George. We've got George here as well. He's probably going to pop his head out in a little minute, so you'll get to see him, my little open house dog. We also have a residential sales property that is coming up in Venice as well. We've actually kind of spread the word of it around our brokerage, so that is something that we wanted to talk about as a topic today, actually. Obviously, we have this property coming to market. We're currently going through the staging with a staging company when it's going to be done. Obviously, then we go in and get the pictures taken. But we always try to get the word out within the brokerage community prior to that happening. I know, Dave, you actually announced it, I think, in our weekly meeting.
Yep.
And I think 3 agents walked straight up to Dave, turned around and said, what is this property?
Well, it's in that, it's so desirable. It's in prime location in Venice, and we're going to come on just under $2 million, so it's a price point that is super desirable in Venice, and almost everyone in our office has someone that would like to see it at least. So there's this fine line where obviously it's our duty to our client. We want to sell this property and we want to get him his best price.
Yeah.
And so we want to get the word out immediately. But if we sell it before we come to market, we lose a lot of the marketing benefits of having our name out there and having the signage and having really a listing in Venice right now.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that is that's the line that we sort of have to tread, because obviously from our client's perspective, we want to sell that property for them for the best price as soon as possible, so their carrying costs are lowered. They actually get a great price for the property. However, as Dave said, having that sign on that street is definitely a big business generating advantage for us. Even if there are buyers walking into those open houses who don't potentially want to buy that property, then going into a conversation with them about what property they are looking to buy, that's a huge buyer lead for us that could lead to another transaction. So that's a huge advantage, because there's a lot more work in the real estate industry generally with listings.
Yeah.
But there is obviously a huge amount more business generation that can sort of take place in that.
Yeah, and pocket listings are becoming more and more popular. A lot of owners maybe not want to go through the entire process of listing their property and having open houses and having strangers walking into their homes, but typically if you do list it, you get the most eyeballs on it, and you can probably get the best price, because especially like this one in Venice, we're pricing it well, expecting quite a lot of activity and a lot of buyers right off the bat, which can then generate either a bidding war or to find the right buyer that's going to pay the right price.
And if you guys have any questions about that in regards to being a real estate agent, because we get reached out to a lot too on our platforms on social media and on the internet about questions where people want to know, I'd like to be an agent, what do you recommend for this? Definitely let us know if that is something. And thanks, Pat, for that comment. We've been trying to play around with backgrounds. Obviously, I think Wilshire Boulevard is quite an interesting one, hopefully for you guys to look at, but obviously we are sort of back flooded by light. We actually have a little white light thing up here which we're trying to sort of get some focus on, but maybe next time we need to move that closer to get rid of this sort of shadow effect on our Facebook account.
But if you're familiar with the area, we've got we're right on Cannon Drive, South Beverly's right there, Rodeo Drive. We've got
pretty awesome spot.
A Ferrari dealership is right under us, the 60 Hotel, so it's quite an impressive location for an office.
We've got a question here, Dave. K-Decor1, if I wanted to get into real estate, where do you think I should start? That's a great question. It probably depends on where you want to base yourself. I think we try to be these international agents, and we definitely have connections across the world, and we're trying to get more into that. But I would say becoming an expert in a primary market and becoming the number one there, and then using that to push the attention to other places and sort of have your record to show to other markets is always a big advantage.
Did you mean where do you start, as in what market you want to focus on? And obviously
all steps.
I agree with Ed. A big part of it, and most of your sales, at least at the start, come from your immediate sphere of influence and your network. So starting your business where you know the most people and you're the most familiar with the market is probably the way to go. Yeah,
and that's a really good point. That sphere of influence, as we call it, most of your early transactions are not going to come from a random Zillow lead, because you probably don't have the money to be spending to generate those leads. It's going to be from friends, family, friends of friends, people who kind of you get to know within social interaction, and then lead into hopefully helping them find a property. So I would say that exactly. Pick the market that you want to dominate. Make sure you're doing everything in the way of getting your name out there and your brand out there. And obviously, I think probably before that, you need a real estate license if you're in the US. That is, I didn't need one in London.
It's a fairly easy process too. I mean, most states you can do online courses, so don't quit your day job before jumping into it. I'd say take the time, earn as much capital as you can. And save up, because typically most agents, you're not going to be doing deals right off the bat. So you have to have some kind of savings, because most agents, it depends on the brokerage, but you're not earning salary. You're basically commissions only, and you eat what you kill. And
or
it takes months.
The other way to look at that is we decided not to do this because we think it's a much faster track to becoming the number one agent on the West Side. We wanted to be our own agents, have our own names on our signs, get out there so that we were building our career as quickly as possible. But there are a lot of agents that when they get licensed, there's a stepping stone of going into becoming an assistant.
Yeah, or joining a team where there is a salary and you're almost guaranteed business, you're guaranteed leads off the bat, but you're trading under someone else's brand, someone else's team. I mean, it's a great way into the business and to learn all the ropes, basically on someone else's dime. So, I mean, I can't say it enough. That's a great way to learn the business.
Yeah.
Obviously, my family's in real estate. Ed was working in the real estate industry in London, so we didn't feel like we
necessarily needed
that.
Skills, yeah.
But most agents do, and I encourage them to.
And I think both these guys actually, Kayla Core One, you're in the UK. From that perspective, because I was working in London, worked for Foxtons for 4 years before I moved over here. I would find the broker or the company, because obviously it works very differently there and you're not as self-employed, where you'd like to see yourself or your brand and your business doing the best. So there's obviously some great companies there, Sotheby's, Foxtons, Knight Frank. I'd probably focus on one of those.
Are there big teams? Are teams popular in London?
That's the thing. It's not a self-employed industry. It's a corporate
you're trading
company.
under almost the brokerage.
Yeah, so you get a salary, you get a small percentage of the transactions you're doing. But here we're self-employed. We're not paid a salary. We're given a desk. We're paying our broker effectively per transaction to be a part of it and to have that brand above our name. So yeah, different sort of strokes for different markets, but if you have any specific questions about where you're wanting to focus yourself, please direct message us on Instagram, Facebook, or send us an email, and we'd love to help in any way we can. So I think that's probably it for what we've been up to this week. I think actually the topic we were going to talk through today is just some of the large projects that are going on in LA. We use a source called The Real Deal. It's a website that actually is really interesting because it's kind of like the headlines of the real estate industry in LA.
Sometimes there's a lot of gossip in there.
A lot of gossip, yeah. It's the tabloid kind of version.
Part tabloid, part real media source.
Yeah, 100%. So there's actually some huge projects going on. There's an academy, or the academy, they're calling it, 301,000 square feet, which if you're not familiar with square feet, that's pretty massive. I think the biggest residential house in LA is being built at the moment, which is going to be 120,000 square feet, and you're going to be hitting the market for $500 million in the next few months, is what we've been told. So if you guys are interested in that, let us know, but we'll try and keep you guys updated. This is obviously 301,000 square feet, but it's more of that sort of corporate. It's going to be building, it sounds like here, office buildings, 3.5 acre project in Hollywood. And it'll be 545,000 square feet of office space on a 300,000 square foot lot. So that's going to be massive.
That's big to build.
The permit valued the build out's going to be $116 million, which I think is absolutely huge. So that's going to be a big one. There's a couple of others. There's a 248,000 square feet going up looks like this one is on Almeida Street. Which I actually am not sure exactly where that is, but actually, if you guys want to
downtown,
that's it. That's the advantage of being a team. We got two sources to give you some information. I think the big one that we really want to discuss is the property that we have in Escrow right now in North Hollywood. There is a development right next door to it at 5550 Bonner. That is going to be a 44,000 square foot mixed project. So I believe it's going to be some retail, some office space, and some residential stuff. So, I mean, that's going to be a big one. And hopefully, because we've got the property next door to it in Escrow, for our clients who are going to build a shared living model there, it will hopefully push some value, I think, towards that project.
Absolutely.
But we'll see.
And it's good that the development will be kind of concurrent. It's not like our developers are going to be finished with the project just as these guys are breaking ground, because that's never fun for tenants.
Because I think they started that last week.
Hopefully the timelines kind of match up.
Yeah, which would be awesome. So hopefully that's some interesting stuff for you guys. What we're trying to do actually at the moment is we have been pretty slacking on our email e-blast sort of updates to everyone within our client base. Obviously we've been, I think, relying a lot more on our social media, on our internet presence, but we still realize there's a lot of value and a lot of our clients like to kind of get updates from us in terms of that email format. So we put out a new email yesterday that we're going to try and do every week. Hopefully we'll have a bit of updates in terms of what we're doing with LA Mansion tours. You can see some highlight clips. We'll do some of the big stories because we don't want it to be boring. I think there's a lot of agents out there who just put out an email like, here's my new listings, here's my sold. And unless you're looking to buy or sell a house, it's really not that useful to know about.
We'll try and keep it interesting.
So yeah,
we might even put some of our favorite music of the moment.
Yeah, and we're thinking about doing some playlists as well on Spotify. We're big house and techno fans, so house music, people who sell houses. We're trying to come up with a playlist
If
name.
you have any ideas, let us know.
We would love a suggestion.
Also, for the next few Fridays, we're going to try and bring in some other professionals from within the industry, whether that's contractors, inspectors, title. We had a mortgage broker in last week.
Yeah.
Actually, shout out to one of our other favorite mortgage brokers.
We'll try and get Dan Millstone over here. He comes into our office every Wednesday for the office meeting, gives us an update in terms of where he thinks the rates are going, what the Fed's doing, which is great information to be able to pass on to our clients.
So if there's anyone you guys would like to hear from, or if you have any specific questions for someone else within the industry, another, whether that's home staging, interior design, architects, developers, let us know and we'll bring them in and we can start some conversations there.
Yeah, because I think we did that last week with as Dave said, a great mortgage broker, and we've had a huge amount of positive feedback of people just turning around and saying, thank you so much for putting that up there. It answered a load of questions, and we've had a load more questions sort of come in off the back of that as well. So hopefully that is interesting to you guys, and if there is anything you want us to focus on, let us know. Obviously today we have this guy. So if you want to know anything about hosting open houses and melting people's hearts as they walk in through the door, he's quite a good one to ask. But obviously I don't think he speaks English, so we're not going to go beyond that. So anyway, that is pretty much what we've been going through today. Yep. Pockets we've kind of gone through, email newsletter we've gone through.
We have an open house this weekend at our property in Ojai. If you guys would like to come up there and see it, please let us know. I would love to have you.
Yeah.
I'll be there. It's 1605 Daly Road in Ojai, Sunday from 1 to 4.
And you get a free orange and an avocado, maybe?
Yeah, you can pick your own avocados, oranges, lemons, to come hang out. The views are absolutely incredible.
Pretty insane. So that's a reason to go there anyway. But yeah, next week we're hopefully going to have some stuff. I'm actually traveling up to San Francisco on Monday for the opening of this new building, 181 Fremont. It looks like it's going to be incredible. So if you don't follow us, tune in and follow us on our Hutchinson Johnstone account, because I will be documenting my journey through that. I believe it's going to be the tallest building in San Francisco with the best views that you could possibly get. They spent 5 years digging into the bedrock, this 120 feet down, I think, some supports so that in an earthquake it's never going to go over.
And limited inventory, right? How many units?
55 units in the building.
So that will be sort of the luxury development hitting the market.
Yeah, I mean the pictures and the renderings we have are insane, so definitely tune in if you guys are interested in that. I believe actually Facebook is also taking over the lower half, 70% of the building,
for their offices,
as their main offices in San Francisco. So that should be pretty interesting. But I think anyone who has one of those residences with views over the Golden Gate Bridge is definitely going to be pretty happy when they have them.
They'll pay the premium.
Yeah, price points to be announced, because I think we need to definitely look at that. But anyway, guys, hope you have a fantastic weekend. I've actually got 2 showings with a lease client of ours. Go check them out, actually, outsite.co. It's like a work-away experience. So if you work from your computer, you travel around the world, you go and stay in San Diego, Bali, Hawaii, I think they've got Venice, we did one for them. They're looking for another one now. But definitely go and check them out, because they're a great company, and actually it's just, I think, that modern way of being able to do work wherever you are, not needing to be in an office. A lot of people are now taking advantage of that and traveling around the world and working and getting cultural experiences at the same time. But yeah, hope you guys have a fantastic weekend. We'll
Happy
give you
Friday.
guys an update on that. Happy Friday. Cinco de Mayo tomorrow as well. I forgot about that.
And Kentucky Derby.
And Kentucky Derby.
Back to back. Big drinking day.
Anyway, so I'm Ed Hutchinson. Tune in next week for LA Mansion Tours, Venice Beach Realty, Venice Tour, and back on Friday again for another 10:30 Q&A.
Sounds good.
All right, guys. See you soon. Bye.